Hello and welcome to my home. Spring decorating continues and today I'm outside because we're going to be decorating the porch. Now I'm not going to be going out and buying lots of expensive things. I am going to shop my home, as I love to do, and I'm going to shop my garden today. Let's get started. And this is my porch. So when you come and visit my home, this is what greets you. So let's make it really welcoming. The first thing you notice as you approach the house is this red brick pathway. It's made from old bricks that I salvaged during the renovations. Last autumn I planted daffodils and tulips, a good mixture of either side, so hopefully in a few weeks it's going to look like this. The porch itself was put on during the renovations and it's mainly made from reclaimed materials, and a lot of the materials were found when we were doing the renovations. eBay was a good hunting ground as well. The lantern came from there, as did the front door, which I absolutely adore. It was £200, covered in a load of paint. And by the time I stripped it back, solid oak. It makes a great statement. The antlers were found on eBay as well, and the bell came from HomeSense. It was originally a gold Christmas ornament that I covered in rust spray, hung it up in the porch, and it's lived there ever since. The dresser ended up in here by accident, but actually it's so valuable for storing all the doggy paraphernalia. All those bits that you absolutely need, but you really don't want to see. And these plants out the front are lace cap hydrangeas, so I can't wait for those to start flowering again. So that's a little bit of background on the porch. So let's start decorating. I brought these branches up from the field last autumn and they've been used for my autumn winter decorations. They're actually secured by cable ties, but obviously cable ties are a bit unsightly. So I've wrapped twine over just to hide them. And now I'm going to decorate them for spring. So I've got my trusty little glue gun out, about £10 off Amazon, best one I've ever had. And I've dug out some old blossom and fake leaves. So these leaves actually came from the range and it was part of an autumn collection. The blossom, it was on long stems and the stems weren't very realistic. So I pulled all the blossom off and I've used them time and time again in different spring decorations. Some of the leaves have been discoloured with the sunshine, so I'll be pulling those off. They're a little bit bright for me. They don't look terribly realistic, so they will be going. I'm going to put all the blossom heads and the leaves into a carrier bag, which I like to hook over my arm because it's lightweight and it means that I don't have to keep going up and down ladders picking up bits and bobs to be sticking on. So the leaves, I'm actually just using the wires on them to wrap around the branches. And the glue gun will be used to attach the blossom heads. Now I started off by separating out the leaves and the blossom, but it didn't look quite right. So I've decided I'm going to go leaves and blossoms together. And then when I run out of the leaves, I'm just going to attach individual blossom heads. It also helps secure the blossom because I can wrap the wire from the leaves around the stem of the blossom. So it makes it more secure. Although the glue in the glue gun actually is really quite strong. And I've done this several years and only every now and then do some of the blossom heads come off, and in which case I just nip out with the glue gun and stick it back on, but they do hold surprisingly well. I'm not adding too many because I want this to represent early spring. Now into the inside of the porch. So these are vintage potato chitting trays. So you would put seed potatoes in to encourage them to produce tubers. I'm adding a vintage mirror, which was a charity shop find, just £5, and an old crate. I've got so many crates. Some of them are older than me, and that is old. A basket is going in, as is an umbrella stand, along with a few umbrellas. I'm adding a thick coir doormat and a wreath that I made a few weeks ago. There's a video on how I did this. So do have a watch if you fancy making a similar one. I'm heading off into the garden now to find some spring growth to snip so I can pop it in some water in the porch. I'm using an old jar filled with water inside the basket, and to stop the jar from falling over, I'm using old pine cones just to prop it up to wedge it in, because if you get a wind travelling through, it could easily knock the jar over. It also has the added benefit of disguising the jar. So the stems, just loosely arrange those in there, and every few weeks, you know, if they're not looking too good, I can always switch them out. Sometimes they'll actually start to root, in which case I'll pop them in some compost and I may well get another tree out of them. This actually happened with some pussy willow a couple of years ago. I snipped it for the kitchen. It started to root. I put 4 of them into a pot with compost. 3 of them didn't work, but 1 did, and now it's quite a big tree. A little bit of hessian on top just finishes it off. I made this wreath just before Christmas with whips from the field, and bulbs that I planted up at the end of autumn. I actually ran out of time putting them in the ground, so rather than wasting them, I popped them all into tins and containers that I had left over. Now some of them here have gone quite floppy, so I'm popping them in this old wine box. It actually came from the auctions and it had something else in that I bought at the auctions. Sliding a couple of the jam jars in again because I'm going to cut some pussy willow to go in it. And you never know, if I'm lucky, I might get some free trees if it starts to root. This is why I'm making sure that I actually get it into the jars with the water, and I will periodically go and top up the water. The bulbs don't need that much attention. They'll just do their thing, but I think that's quite a sweet display. If you're enjoying this video, then please do hit the thumbs up. Go check out my other videos and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more. If you're not subscribed already, please do consider subscribing. I'd love to have you on board. Any Costco shoppers out there will recognise these tins. If you know, you know. And finally, this candle holder with leather straps that I actually won in an Instagram competition. Final finishing touch, basket by the door. And here we are. I'm going to leave you with some pretty close-up shots. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.